The non-experiential nature of nothingness constitutes one of the fundamental limits of human knowledge and consciousness. Experience, in its most general sense, arises from the interaction of a subject with an object, an event, or a particular state. This interaction involves elements such as perception, awareness, sensation, and memory. For an experience to occur, there must be a perceivable content confronting the subject. However, when nothingness is conceived as a concept that presents no object or state whatsoever, it fails to meet the basic conditions of experience. For this reason, nothingness is not a reality that can be directly lived, but rather a boundary condition that can only be conceived indirectly. In everyday life, people frequently use the word nothingness, yet this usage rarely refers to absolute nothingness. Instead, it usually expresses the absence of a particular entity. When we speak of the absence of something, what we actually mean is that an expected presence is missing. Experiences such as silence, darkness, or emptiness may superficially appear to be forms of nothingness, but in reality, they are based on specific conditions of existence. Silence is the state in which sound is not perceived. Darkness is defined by the absence of light, and emptiness refers to a space where material objects are sparse. None of these examples represent absolute nothingness. On the contrary, they all derive their meaning from the presence of something. This shows that humans can perceive nothingness not directly, but only as the absence of what exists. Experientiality requires not only perceptual contact, but also the capacity to leave a trace over time. For an experience to be lived, it must be capable of being remembered. Memory is formed by the imprint that an event leaves in the mind. Nothingness, however, leaves no trace, because leaving a trace presupposes the existence of an effect, an encounter, or a change. This makes the non-experiential nature of nothingness not merely a perceptual issue, but also a mnemonic one. If humans were able to experience nothingness, they would have to be able to remember that experience. Yet everything that is remembered possesses some form of content, and thus nothingness fails to meet this condition as well. Consequently, nothingness offers neither a perceivable nor a memorable content. In philosophical thought, this raises the question of whether nothingness can be an object of knowledge. Knowledge is generally acquired through experience or through reasoning based on experience. The knowledge of something that cannot be experienced cannot be direct. It can only be constructed through indirect inferences. For this reason, knowledge of nothingness is not a form of direct knowing, but a mode of knowing defined through existence. Humans do not think about nothingness by living it, but by recognizing the limits of what exists. In this sense, nothingness becomes less an object of knowledge and more a marker of the boundaries of knowledge. This is also related to the way the human mind operates. The mind produces meaning by comparing, distinguishing, and recognizing differences. Nothingness, however, provides no content that can be compared. For comparison to be possible, at least two domains of existence are required. In absolute nothingness, this possibility disappears. Thus, nothingness is a concept that is difficult to represent mentally. Humans cannot think nothingness directly. They can only become aware that they are trying to think it. The scientific approach likewise accepts the non-experiential nature of nothingness. Science is based on measurement and observation. A condition that cannot be measured or observed cannot become a direct object of scientific inquiry. For this reason, science does not study nothingness itself, but rather the conditions under which assumptions of nothingness arise. Even when it is said that there is no energy or no matter in a system, this claim is based on the limits of measurement, not on an assertion of absolute nothingness. Scientific models do not explain nothingness. They merely acknowledge the boundaries of what can be perceived. In spiritual traditions, the non-experiential nature of nothingness is understood as an indication of the limited nature of human existence. This perspective encourages humility and restraint in matters of knowledge. Because nothingness cannot be experienced, it is not a domain over which humans can exercise authority. Instead, it is seen as a realm of mystery that should be approached with respect and reverence. From this viewpoint, nothingness is not an object of knowledge, but a reminder of the limits of human comprehension. In conclusion, nothingness is not a condition that can be lived by humans, but a contrasting concept that deepens the understanding of existence. Its non-experiential nature does not imply that it is insignificant. On the contrary, it serves as an important marker of where human knowledge comes to an end. In this respect, nothingness is a fundamental conceptual tool that invites humans to look more carefully at what exists, to question the limits of perception, and to recognize that knowledge is never absolute.